There's one thing Libra does so well that no one realizes. It's a defense mechanism. They tidy up, not in the literal sense. They tidy up the space around them. They tidy up relationships. They tidy up situations until everything looks right. And when something doesn't fit into the arrangement, they adjust it. They change the angle. They find a way to make it seem like part of the plan. The problem isn't the organization. The problem is that sometimes what doesn't fit into the arrangement is exactly what God put there on purpose. There is a place God is taking you, and it doesn't have the form you expected. It's not the place you would choose if you had complete control. It's not what appears when you close your eyes and imagine where you want to go. It's a place that, from afar, seems wrong, or at least seems too different. And it's precisely this too different that Libra spends years trying to fix, avoid, and elegantly reject. But what I want to show you today is that this different place is not a detour from your life. It is life. Libra was born with an antenna tuned to harmony. You sense misalignment before you see it. You realize when a conversation is going badly before the first difficult word. You notice when an environment is tense before you enter. This sensitivity is a real gift, but every gift has a weight that no one tells you about. The burden, in the case of Libra, is this. When all you perceive are imbalances, you begin to spend your entire life trying to eliminate them. And what should be sensitivity becomes a control system disguised as harmony. Because harmony, for Libra, is not a state you find. It's a state you build, brick upon brick, choice upon choice, adjustment after adjustment, until the scene is beautiful enough to bear. And then comes God. And he doesn't speak the language of beauty. He speaks the language of heartbreak, not noisy chaos. It's something more subtle and more unsettling. It's a feeling that things aren't fitting together, no matter how hard you try. That the space you arranged with such care has suddenly become too small. That the project you had for yourself seems strangely incomplete, even if it's beautiful. That feeling you can't name, it has a name. It's the call, not a religious calling in the traditional sense. It's the calling of a life that hasn't yet begun, knocking on the door of a life you've built to feel safe. It doesn't knock urgently. It knocks slowly, persistently, with the patience of someone who knows you'll open it, because deep down you know it too. But Libra doesn't open right away, and I understand why. Opening that door means disrupting the arrangement. It means that the choices that made sense until now will need to be re-examined. The harmony you built, the one that cost years of internal negotiation, of silent sacrifice, of finding beauty even where there was none, may not be the final destination. It may only be the place where you rested halfway. And Libra has difficulty with this, not because they are naive, but because they feel too much, because they have invested too much, because the idea that everything you created was temporary weighs on you in a way that no one sees from the outside. But here's the strangest part. You already know. You already feel deep down that something is waiting for you on the other side of this discomfort. Something that doesn't yet have the right form, that doesn't seem harmonious, that doesn't fit into your ideal of a good life. And yet, the pull is still there, that quiet force that won't leave you in peace where you... CTA1, Chaka. This question lingers for a reason, because everything that follows in this script depends on you being willing to listen to it to the end, without escaping into the comfort of an easy answer. It was while searching for answers to this that I found this digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose. What caught my attention wasn't the title. It was what it does to the kind of paralysis Libra knows well. The kind where you know you need to move but you can't because destiny doesn't have the shape you approved. This book isn't a recipe for finding balance. It's a stance on how to walk when balance hasn't yet arrived. For Libra, who tends to confuse what is harmonious with what is true, It works like a compass, pointing to real life, not the beautiful life you've designed for yourself. You are, at this moment, in a specific state, recognizing something that has always been there, but that you had never named as such. With that productive discomfort, the kind that opens doors, not the kind that paralyzes. It is in this state, with your antennae tuned and your heart less closed than usual, that this content penetrates more deeply. Don't wait to reach a more comfortable place to seek it. Comfort will convince you that you no longer need it. The link is in the first pinned comment, but be aware, this content may be taken down. Click now and download your copy. Tell me in the comments, is there any place, situation, or person that you feel God is using to take you out of control, but that you are still resisting, even knowing that you should let go? There's an image I need you to remember. Imagine a scale, not the decorative scale, not the stylized symbol, the real scale, the old one that used metal weights. When you put something on one of the pans, it doesn't balance instantly. It oscillates. It swings to one side, then to the other, and for a long time it looks like it's going to tip over. Only after a while, after a lot of oscillation, does it find its point of equilibrium. Libra lives exactly like this. But the problem isn't the fluctuation, it's that you've learned to hate fluctuation. You've learned that balance is synonymous with problems, imbalance, something wrong. And you've started treating every moment of instability as an emergency to be resolved, instead of a process to be lived. Think about how many decisions you've made just to stop the swing. Not because the decision was right, but because the oscillation was bothering you too much. You chose the path most similar to what you knew, the most predictable relationship, the project with the least aesthetic risk, not because it was what you truly wanted, but because it seemed closest to equilibrium. And there's a name for that too. It's called premature stability. It's when you stop the scale too early, before it reaches the true point, and you think you've reached equilibrium, but in reality, you've only stopped the process. The weight that was on the other side is still there. The tension still exists. You've just learned not to look at it. God doesn't work with premature stability. He lets the balance tip, sometimes for a long time, sometimes until it seems like it's going to tip. And it's precisely at that point, the point where you're about to force a solution, that he places the right weight. But the right weight almost never comes in the shape you expected. Sometimes the right balance is a loss, a departure, a project that didn't work out the way you planned, a relationship that had to end so that something bigger could begin. And Libra looks at this and thinks, this isn't balance. This seems like the opposite of balance. But what if what appears to be an imbalance is actually the adjustment? This is Libra's blind spot. Your sensitivity to harmony is so attuned that you can detect imbalance immediately. But you can't yet see the balance being built within it. You see the process, not the result. You see the oscillation, not its destination. You were taught to believe that harmony is the natural state of things, that when life is difficult, it's wrong, that when something hurts or doesn't fit, it's because you made a mistake, took a detour, lost your way. But what I want to tell you, and this will cost you something, is that this belief is not wisdom. It's a protective mechanism that has become too old. The harmonious life that Libra seeks is not the absence of tension, it's tension resolved. And the difference between these two things is enormous, because one you achieve by running away from problems, the other you only achieve by going through them. God knows this, and that's why he doesn't take you down the most beautiful path, he takes you down the truest path. Think about the moments in your life when you grew the most, not the moments you planned, the moments that came uninvited, the situation you wouldn't have chosen, the person who arrived at the wrong time and turned your life upside down, the project that failed and forced you to rethink everything. Any of these moments that you would name the most difficult, they are also, almost always, the ones that most changed who you are. Because God operates within this grammar. the grammar of what is necessary, not of what is beautiful. And Libra, which has a whole aesthetic philosophy about what life should look like, needs to learn at some point to distinguish what is harmonious from what is merely familiar. What just appeared here, this distinction between what is harmonious and what is merely familiar, is probably one of the most difficult things Libra needs to face. And it's not an idea, it's a practice, a daily stance of asking, before adjusting anything in your life, is this wrong, or is it just different from what I planned? The digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose, addresses exactly this. Not astrological theory, but the practical application of this distinction for those born with the sensitivity of Libra. It gives you tools to recognize when you are building real harmony versus when you are merely building comfort. And this difference can change the level of everything you create, decide, and choose. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. There's something nobody talks about regarding Libra's courage, because when most people think of courage, they think of Aries, that energy to move forward fearlessly, to confront challenges head-on, to not back down. Libra doesn't have that kind of courage, and for a long time this was used as a criticism, as a weakness. Libra doesn't decide, Libra procrastinates, Libra sits on the fence. But that's a superficial reading. Libra's true courage is of a different kind. It's the courage to endure tension without resolving it prematurely, to hold on to both sides at the same time, even when it hurts, even when the pressure to choose is enormous, to live with the question without seizing on the first available answer. This is a rare skill. And God uses precisely this skill to take you to places that other people can't reach, because they wouldn't have the patience for the process. But there comes a point where this ability becomes an obstacle. It's when the tension you're enduring is no longer about finding the right answer. It's about not wanting to face the consequences of any answer. When enduring the tension becomes a way of avoiding commitment, when staying in the center of the scale becomes a way of never having to fall to either side. And Libra knows this state intimately. It's that place where you know a decision is waiting for you. You avoid it elegantly, with consideration, with analysis, with the feeling that you're still weighing the pros and cons. But deep down, the weight has already been weighed long ago. You just don't want to know what the decision will cost, and what it will cost you, almost always, is a version of your life that you loved. This is what makes divine guidance for Libra specifically difficult. It's not the change itself, it's the grief for what needs to be left behind, for the project that will no longer be the center, for the relationship that will need to change form, for the identity you've built around a role that is becoming too small. God is not asking you to abandon who you were. He is asking you to stop using who you were as an excuse not to become who you are being called to be. And for Libra, that phrase changes depending on the day. Some days it liberates, other days it weighs too heavily. But it's true in both cases. The different place God is taking you to is not a place without beauty. It is not a place without harmony. It is a place where beauty and harmony will be real, not constructed, not maintained with effort, not sustained by your fear of letting it fall. And to get there, you need to let go of what you're holding on to. This letting go is not abandonment. It is not giving up. It is the most precise movement that exists, that of opening your hand in the right place, at the right time, with awareness of what you are doing and why. The divine path that guides your zodiac sign towards a life of purpose accompanies Libra precisely in this movement. It addresses the specific difficulty of letting go without getting lost, of trusting without losing discernment, of opening oneself to the new without erasing what was real in the past. It's a resource designed for those who feel deeply and need guidance that respects that depth instead of simplifying it. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. Now I need to tell you about the place itself. Because there's one thing God almost never tells you beforehand, and it only makes sense when you're already there. The unfamiliar place doesn't seem unfamiliar for very long. At first, it feels strange. It feels like you're in an environment that isn't yours, playing a role that doesn't fit, living a life that wasn't what you had planned. But there comes a moment, and you'll recognize that moment when it arrives, when you look around and realize that you are, for the first time, at peace. Not the peace that's built, not the peace that's maintained, the peace that's simply there, without you having done anything to put it there. And then you understand. The different place was the right place. The place where your true gift meets its true purpose, where your sensitivity to harmony no longer needs to be used for protection, but can finally be used to build, truly, deeply, with impact. Libra has a gift that goes beyond aesthetic beauty. You have the ability to sense what's wrong with a system and imagine how it could be better. To enter a tense environment and simply by your presence, lighten it. To listen to two opposing sides and find the point where they can coexist. This is rare, it's real, and it's precisely this gift that this unique place will need from you. But he will only use this gift fully when you stop wasting it fixing the life you've built for security and start investing it in the life God has been building for you, the one you can't yet see in its entirety, but which you already feel in its pull. There's a version of you that doesn't fully exist yet, a version that isn't better in the sense of being more perfect, but that is more whole, more real, less preoccupied with appearances, and more present with their substance. A version that arrived at a different place and discovered with some surprise that it was more beautiful than anything you could have planned. This version of you is not a fantasy. It is the natural consequence of ceasing to resist what God is already moving. The divine path that guides your zodiac sign towards a life of purpose is in practice a map for this movement. Not a map that tells you where to go, but one that helps you identify where you are stuck, why, and how Libra specifically can use its nature, sensitivity, sense of justice, ability to balance, as tools for advancement, not resistance. Limited availability. This content may be taken down at any time. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. Printf CTA 2 Nova 3 length, Len CTA 2 3. Closing. Let me tell you one last thing about Libra, about what makes this sign something that goes beyond the superficial archetype, beyond the indecisive, beyond the diplomatic. Libra carries within itself the oldest question that exists: how to make the world look more like what it should be, how to transform what is harsh into something that has form, how to find, amidst chaos and contradiction, a meeting point between opposing forces. This is a divine question, literally. It's the question that moves artists, mediators, philosophers, and architects, and you carry it in your body, in the way you enter a space, in the way you listen, in the way you create. But this question can only be fully answered when you stop answering it only for yourself, when the balance you seek is no longer the balance of your own inner life, but the balance you bring to the world. And this leap, from private to public, from internal to external, from protected to exposed, only happens in a different place. Not in the place you chose, in the place you were taken to. God doesn't take you to a different place to destroy you. He takes you to a different place because the place you've built, however beautiful it may be, is too small for what you came to do. And on some level, you always knew that. The scale doesn't lie. It oscillates until it finds the true point, And the true point for Libra is always bigger, more real and more beautiful than any point you might have chosen for fear of losing your balance. Trust the process, trust the pull, trust the different place. It was made for you.